House Republicans unveil articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. GOP leader saying, quote, his refusal to obey the law is not only an offense against the separation of powers in the Constitution of the U.S., it also threatens our national security. Texas Congressman Pat Fallon filed the original articles of impeachment against Mayorkas a year ago and joins us now as the GOP closes in on making it happen. So, Congressman, for people who say he just is terrible at his job, but it's not impeachable, what do you say?
Well, I say that when you lie under oath to Congress, Brian, that is impeachable, and that's what Alejandro Mayorkas has done. And not only that, but he's violated the Immigration and Nationality Act 7-8 times over. And these articles spell that out in specificity. And for instance, let me read you an exact quote. Mayorkas said under oath to Congress that the border was no less secure than it was previously. Now, if that's true, well, let's look at the numbers. In the last two administrations, Obama and Trump, at this point in their presidencies, 3 years deep, they had about 1.6 million illegal encounters. Joe Biden has 8.5 million. That's not just about like it was before. We'd never had a month that we had over 200,000 illegal border crossings. We had 20 under Joe Biden. And I mean, the list goes on, and I could take up the whole program telling you how,
right,
how much chaos is on the border, and it needs to end.
You know, what's so interesting is I'm home and work with him, and he says that he knows better. You can't just say that he's incompetent. He says this has to be intentional. Do you feel the same way?
100%. This is a willful and systematic refusal to comply with statutory law. I mean, there's no other explanation for it. How in the world did things explode? I mean, think about December was the worst month we'd ever had. 300,000 illegal encounters. Right. Under President Trump in fiscal year 2017, we had 300,000 all year. So you could argue that this is 12 times worse than it was before.
So you're going to go ahead with the articles of impeachment. You only have a 2 or 3 vote margin. Do you have every Republican on board to pass this?
Right now, it looks like there's 1 or 2 Republicans that are wavering. So I think it will pass. I really do, because Chairman Mark Green, my good friend from the Homeland Security Committee, has done an exceptional job here. And, the proof's in the pudding. Alejandro Mayorkas has perjured himself. He's putting Americans in danger. I mean, opioid deaths have doubled under the Biden administration. And that's hundreds of thousands of American lives at stake here. So I think we must go forward. It's our constitutional duty to do so.
So you have FBI is really concerned about the border. In fact, they came out and said the threat we call today is new and unfamiliar in modern history. The U.S. has never suffered an invasion of homeland, and yet one is unfolding right now. Military-aged men from across the globe, many from countries or regions not friendly to the United States, are landing in waves on our soil by the thousands. I mean, right there, every American, not Republican or Democrat, should be concerned with that. And we see it every single day. That's why you see the extreme circumstances where the Texas National Guard is pulling back the Border Patrol and says, we'll take it from here. And there's been 0 crossings on Shelby Park.
Yeah. Well, think about our greatest geopolitical competitor, China. A couple of years ago, Brian, there were only 323 Chinese nationals that were encountered on the southern border. Last year, there were 24,000. So, yes, this is alarming. And Russian nationals have spiked dramatically. We don't even know who these people are. So some even if 1% were saboteurs, what if China invades Taiwan and then there's a couple hundred or 500 Chinese national trained military men, committing sabotage? And in an open society, that's not that difficult. Right.
So we have this border bill that is going to be released, I guess, any day now. No one's seen the whole text outside Senator Langford, Senator Sinema, and Senator Murphy, and a representative from the White House. I don't know who it is. From what you know, from the highlights you have seen, do you like any part of this bill?
I think it's just window dressing. I mean, maybe these senators want to feel good about themselves at cocktail parties, but you want to put some real teeth in this legislation. First of all, Brian, Joe Biden can fix this today. He can fix it right now. He can fix it this morning by simply reinstituting wait in Mexico, which President Trump so brilliantly did. And if you go down to the border and ask the agents what's the one thing that could really stem this tide and mitigate it, is they said just reinstitute wait in Mexico, where your asylum claim will be adjudicated while you wait in Mexico. But Joe Biden refuses to do that. They're very eager to sue Texas, but they won't confront the Mexican drug cartels.
So one of the things, a couple of things that they do, they say the asylum claims will no longer be standing unless you have proof. They said if you just say I'm under threat, that's not going to work. We're going to throw you back right away. You're going to get, within 6 months, you're going to get a review of your status. They're going to expand the expedited deportations. They're going to get rid of catch and release. And they said there's going to be a threshold of 5,000. That'll be an automatic shutdown of the border. They hope not to get to 5,000. But they said there'll be an automatic shutdown if they get to that, almost like the stock market when there's a certain level of a sell-off. So some of those things you can get on board with, right?
Well, yeah, but the 5,000 is ridiculous. We can't normalize 5,000 illegal encounters every single day. If that number was 1,000, then we could talk. In fact, I talked to some of the Republican senators about that, and they also had grave concerns about that 5,000 number. That's a large number. That's 150,000 a month. That normally back a few years ago, that would break records. So I definitely don't want to normalize that. That's a horrible part of the agreement.
Last question. Just what's the mechanics? Is the vote today? Is the presentation today? What can we expect?
Oh, it'll be this week. I think from what leadership tells us, it'll be this week. And you know what? I wanted to do it a year ago, as you mentioned. So I'm glad that it's, the wheels of the federal governance grind slowly, but I'm glad we're finally here to this.